And now I have told you before it come to pass, that, when it is come to pass, ye might believe. John 14:29. Many people, myself included, have observed events before they occurred in this three-dimensional world. If man can observe an event before it happens in the three dimensions of space, then life on Earth must proceed according to a plan, and this plan must exist elsewhere in another dimension. If the events that occur were not in this world when they were observed, then, to be perfectly logical, they must have been predetermined from the viewpoint of the waking man in a three-dimensional world. So the question arises, are we capable of altering our future? Well, yes, we are capable of altering our future. Even though so altered, it will form a new deterministic sequence starting from the point of interference. A future that will be consistent with the alteration. The most remarkable feature of man's future is its flexibility. It is determined by his attitudes more than his actions. The cornerstone upon which all things are based is the concept that man has of himself. He acts as he does, and has the experiences he has because his concept of himself is what it is, and for no other reason. If he had a different concept of himself, he would act differently. A change in the concept of self automatically alters his future, and a change in any term of his future series of experiences reciprocally alters his concept of self. Man's assumptions, which he considers insignificant, produce considerable effects. Therefore, man should review his estimation of an assumption and recognize its creative power. All changes occur in consciousness. The future, though prepared in every detail in advance, has different outcomes. At every moment of our lives, we are faced with the choice of which of the various futures we will choose. The ancient masters called them the carnal mind and the mind of Christ. We can differentiate them as the ordinary waking consciousness, governed by our senses, and a controlled imagination, governed by desire. Natural vision limits reality to the moment called now. For natural vision, the past and the future are purely imaginary. Spiritual vision, on the other hand, sees the contents of time. It sees distinct and separate events as objects in space. The past and future are a whole present for spiritual vision. What is mental and subjective to the natural man is concrete and objective to the spiritual man. The habit of seeing only what our senses permit renders us completely blind to what we might otherwise see. To cultivate the faculty of seeing the invisible, we should often deliberately withdraw our attention from the evidence of the senses and concentrate it on an invisible state, feeling it mentally and perceiving it until it assumes the distinctness of reality. Serious and concentrated thought, focused in a particular direction, excludes other sensations and makes them disappear. We must focus on the desired state to see it. The habit of shifting attention from the region of sensation to the invisible develops our spiritual viewpoint and enables us to penetrate beyond the world of sense and see what is invisible. This vision is entirely independent of natural faculties. Explore it and apply it immediately. Without it, these instructions are useless, for the things of the spirit are spiritually discerned. A little practice will convince us that we can, by controlling our imagination, shape our future in harmony with our desire. Desire is the spring of action. We couldn't lift a finger if we didn't have the desire to do so. No matter what we do, we follow the desire that currently dominates our minds. When we break a habit, our desire to break it is greater than the desire to continue the habit itself. The desires that drive us to action are those that capture our attention. A desire is simply the awareness of something we lack or need to make our lives more enjoyable. Desires always aim at some personal gain. The greater the anticipated gain, the more intense the desire. There is no absolutely unselfish desire. Where there is nothing to gain, there is no desire, and therefore, no action. The spiritual man speaks to the natural man through the language of desire. The key to progress in life and the fulfillment of dreams lies in prompt obedience to his voice. Unhesitating obedience to his voice is an immediate assumption of the desire realized. Desiring a state means having it. Men believe in the reality of the external world because they do not know how to concentrate and condense their powers to penetrate the thin crust. This book has but one purpose: to remove the veil of the senses and travel in another world. The objective world fades when attention is turned elsewhere. We must focus on the desired state to see it mentally. To give it reality so that it becomes an objective fact, we must focus attention on the invisible state until it has the feeling of reality. When, through concentrated attention, our desire seems to possess clear-cutness and a sense of reality, we have given it the right to become a concrete, visible fact. If it is difficult to control the direction of attention in a state akin to sleep, you may find it helpful to gaze steadily at an object with depth. Look into and beyond the object. Then imagine seeing and feeling what you desire until attention is exclusively on the imagined state. At the end of the meditation, awakening from the controlled dream, you will feel as though you have returned from a great distance. The visible world, excluded from consciousness, returns, and with its presence informs that you were deluded into believing the object of contemplation to be real. Consciousness is the only true reality. By remaining faithful to the vision, we will confirm the experience and demonstrate the power to give reality to desires. Define your ideal and focus attention on identifying with it. Assume the feeling of being the embodiment of the ideal. Live and act according to this conviction. This presumption, if persisted in, becomes reality. Changing the concept of self changes the relationship with the world. In meditation, allow others to see you as they would if the new concept of yourself were concrete. During meditation, when contemplating others, you must mentally be seen by them as if the concept of yourself were an objective fact. If you assume you are what you want to be, the desire is fulfilled, and every desire neutralized. Desire is the recognition of already having what you desire. Belief and being are one. Being is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen. If the good of others is what you desire, during meditation represent them already as you desire them to be. Through desire, rise above the present sphere, and the path from desire to fulfillment is shortened. Man has at every moment the choice of which of the various futures he will encounter. How is this possible when man's experiences are predetermined? This ability to change the future will be evident by comparing life experiences with this printed page. Man experiences events on Earth individually and successively, much as you are now experiencing the words on this page. Imagine each word on this page representing a single sensory impression. Focus vision on the upper left word and move the gaze from left to right, falling on the word singly. When reaching the last word, grasp the meaning of the text. You could rearrange the words to tell different stories. A dream is uncontrolled four-dimensional thought, or the rearrangement of past and future sensory impressions. You usually dream events separated in time, merged into a single sensory impression, or in the dream, rearrange sensory impressions so they are unrecognizable when encountered awake. We learn to control attention in the four-dimensional world through controlled dreaming, where attention can be effortlessly maintained. In a controlled dream, we construct desired events. The sensory impressions used are realities shifted in time or space. We select impressions that imply the fulfillment of desire. Relax on a chair, induce a state of consciousness akin to sleep. Live in imagination what you would experience if the controlled dream were reality. To change the future, acceptance of the controlled dream as physical reality produces the effect ensuring its fulfillment. We lay the foundation for changing the future, a controlled dream while awake. Change your future in 3 easy steps. 1. Define your goal. 2. Construct an event implying desire fulfillment. 3. Immobilize the body. Induce a state of consciousness akin to sleep. Feel performing the proposed action. Men contend that a true judgment must conform to the external reality to which it refers. If I repeat to myself that I am free and succeed in truly believing it, I will be convinced of being free. But that does not imply that I am truly free, but that I might be the victim of an illusion. However, I have come to believe in so many strange things that I see few reasons to doubt the truth of things beyond my experience. The ancient teachers warned us not to judge by appearances. They stated that we would bear false witness by imagining evil toward another. If our belief does not free the person of whom we hold such belief, it is false and thus constitutes an erroneous judgment. We are called to deny the evidence of our senses and imagine as true of our neighbor that which makes him free. To know the truth of our neighbor, we must assume that he already is what he desires to be. Any concept we have of another that fails to reach his desired fulfillment will not free him and therefore cannot be the truth. My training has been devoted almost exclusively to the power of imagination. I would sit for hours imagining myself to be different from what reason and my senses suggested, until the imagined states were as vivid as reality. So vivid that passers-by became part of my imagination and acted as I wanted. With the power of imagination, my fancy guided theirs and dictated their behavior and speech while I was identified with my imagined state. In meditation, when the brain becomes luminous, I find my imagination endowed with the magnetic power to draw to me whatever I desire. Desire is the power that imagination uses to shape life around me as I shape it within myself. I could give you many examples to prove my points, to show that these imagined states become physical realities. In dreams, we are usually the servant of our vision rather than its master. In the dream, as in meditation, we move from this world into a dimensionally larger world. In the dream, I find myself dreaming. I can grasp any inanimate or stationary shape of the dream and command myself to wake up. I wake up in another sphere holding the object of my dream, to discover that I am no longer the servant of my vision, but its master. Through this method, desiring first and then imagining experiencing what we desire to experience, we can shape the future in harmony with our desire. But let us heed the prophet's advice and think only of what is lovely and of good report. I am is the self-definition of the absolute. I am the vine. Your response determines the role you play in the drama of the world. Your response, that is, your concept of yourself, need not conform to the external reality to which it refers. Let the weak say, I am strong. The ideal we serve and strive to attain could never evolve from us if it were not potentially involved in our nature. Once, during a leisure interval at sea, I meditated on the perfect state. As I lost myself in this fervent reflection, I felt lifted above the dark environment of the senses. Then I seemed to walk in the night. Soon I found myself facing a scene similar to that of the ancient pool of Bethesda. As I approached, they were, one after another, shaped as by the magician of beauty. Then the scene dissolved, and I woke up. My mystical experiences have convinced me that there is no other way to bring to perfection the external we seek, if not to transform ourselves. In the divine economy, nothing is lost. The circumstances of my life are too closely related to my conception of myself not to have been shaped by my own spirit. If there is suffering in these experiences, I should look for the cause within myself. Intense meditation leads to a union with the state contemplated, and during this union, we see visions, have experiences, and behave in line with our change of consciousness. Love and hate have a magical power of transformation. There is nothing to change but our concept of ourselves. As soon as we succeed in transforming ourselves, our world will dissolve and reshape in harmony with what our transformation affirms. Ready to unlock a universe of wisdom? Subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and enjoy the power of knowledge.